So I'm sure you guys have seen the first time reaction videos on the internet. People react to music videos, people react to video game trailers, and people react to watching movies for the very first time. And I have made these videos too. For a while there, I was completely on this trend. I was cranking out video after video after video of me watching films I'd never seen before. Because on paper, I thought it was a win-win situation. I get to knock off films off my watch list, and I get to make content for you guys. So I was making the first time reaction videos because that was the hot video to make. And even still, some people are still watching my videos who found me through those first time reactions. However, I will never make one of these videos again. And people have been asking me like, oh, Brandon, why won't you make a first time reaction video ever again? To those people, I say you have not seen the toll that making those videos has had on me personally. And you don't see the behind the scenes of just the work that got put into it. And it was not a fun process. It was not fun to make, and I don't actually like watching first time reaction videos. Now, if you guys do, more power to you. If you make that content, watch that content, and you genuinely love it, then that's great for you. But here are the 5 reasons why I will never make a first time reaction video ever again. Number 1 is the extremely tedious editing process. It was an arduous and unfulfilling task, let me tell you, because this footage is like 2.5 hours long. You have the footage of me reacting to the movie, you have the intro, and then you have like my thoughts afterwards. And to go through all that footage, just find all of my little reactions and then make sure that all those get into the final product, but then you also got to make sure that what I'm reacting to is in there as well, and you can see it and you can understand it, and then, you know, making sure that if I'm talking over something, you can hear what I'm reacting to, whatever the case may be. It took such a long time. Now, people might be saying, well, Brandon, editing takes a long time. I know. My 4 years of film school will, tell you that as well. And I used to be in that editing lab for, 14 hours straight sometimes. And I would genuinely love doing so if I'm creating content that I was passionate about. After a while, making the same type of content, and this kind of goes into my movie reviews as well, when you're making the exact same format of video over and over and over and over again, it loses its magic. You're just going through, it's this very tedious process. You're looking through those audio spikes. Oh, I reacted to this part. Okay, got to put that in there, show a bit of the clip of the movie beforehand and make sure that it's understandable for the audience. It took such a long time, and it was not a fun process either. I want to have fun when doing YouTube videos. I don't want to feel like it was a chore, and it felt like a chore. Number 2, the countless copyright strikes. Of course, you are making money off of watching some other piece of art. So I always had to manipulate the footage to not offend the studios. It didn't matter what I did. I could put my face over top of a certain thing. I could speed up the footage, slow down the footage, distort the audio, or maybe like flip the image. It didn't matter what I did. It always seemed to offend the studios. Some certain sections of my video would get blocked, or maybe the entire video would get blocked altogether. So every time I uploaded a video, it was always like a holding your breath type of moment, like, oh, let's hope it works, hope it works, hope it works, hope it works. And of course, when you're hoping to release it on a certain day, because you're like, oh, well, you know what, releasing a video on the Saturday means that you'll get more views and more people are, watching YouTube at that point. And it just doesn't work because you upload the video, it will take a long time to do so. Oh, copyright strike, gotta go back to the drawing board. And you have to edit the entire thing, and there's not really too much of the movie left in your reaction video. So you can't even tell what I'm reacting to. The final product is just this like hodgepodge of nonsense. And like, I look at it and I go, I'm not happy about this. I don't want to release this, but this is the only way I can release it so you guys can watch it. So I wasn't passionate about the content that I was making in the first place, but just the final product because you're trying to get through all these hoops of copyright strikes. It just created this content that I was not happy about sharing, and I shared it again and again and again and again. So I'm like, this is bad quality control. Number 3, feeling disingenuous. This was a big one. So naturally, when I'm watching a movie by myself, I don't react vocally. I don't react very dramatically. I don't like cheer in movie theaters. I don't like overly cry. I will cry at movies sometimes. When there's a funny moment, I'll laugh. Or when I'm watching with a person and I recognize somebody, go, oh, that's the guy from this movie. Or like we'll have like a little tiny discussion. It's not like completely silent. However, for the sake of the content, I felt the need to exaggerate my emotions on camera. This became an extreme challenge when I found the film that I was reacting to dull or uninteresting. There was nothing to react to. But I'm filming a video and I haven't said anything in a while. I feel like I have to say something. And it was very disingenuous. Now, I never lied about how I was feeling. It wasn't like, oh, this movie's hilarious, even if I didn't think so. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, when I wasn't. I would always be honest about it. But just the fact that I'm saying, oh, nothing's happening, I'm bored. Oh, nothing's happening, I'm bored. Oh, still nothing's happening. Like, what kind of good content is that? And I was having a discussion with another person who made these reaction videos. And he told me, well, just put that in the video. If you're not reacting to it, just put that in the video. And I go, see, this is where it differs, because I don't really like watching first-time reaction content. And I will fully admit, and I hate to admit this, but I gotta be honest with you guys, I was chasing the views. Because at that point, I saw all these channels, they were really taken off because of this first time reaction content. But I was really chasing the views when making this content, because I saw so many channels take off at that point, because they're just sitting down and watching a movie like Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Harry Potter. Luckily for them, those are very popular movies that people were like, oh my gosh, how have you not seen that? And of course, me being who I am, I've seen a lot of those big Lord of the Rings and Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, really popular movies. But there was still enough that I felt like, I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm gonna react to that movie. I haven't seen The Godfather, a big one still. I'm gonna react to that. Jaws, Speed, these are some of the movies that I reacted to, right? But I was really chasing those views. And I'm like, I would assume that, these videos, and I have seen quite a few of them, but these people are genuinely interested in the movies that they're watching. So when I'm watching a movie and I don't like it, I'm not going to say anything, because I'm just like, what is there to say? And he's saying, oh, just, post that reaction. So wait a minute, you want me to post a reaction that's 2 hours long? Because there's nothing to edit around. So what, do I just show clips of the movie and me just going like this? Yeah, great content, you know what I mean? So again, I feel like I have to make it interesting for the audience, because who wants to watch me just be like this? So I feel like I have to just keep talking and talking and talking when there's nothing to really talk about. And that was not fun. It felt like I was playing a character. I was playing the Brando critic, and I had to fake reactions when I didn't have any. It was an exhausting process. Number 4, the never satisfied audience. This is probably the biggest reason why I don't make these videos anymore. Yes, from a personal standpoint, I didn't like watching a movie and feeling the need to react over the top, exaggerate my emotions and my witty remarks when I feel like I didn't really have anything to say. And then of course you had to edit it, right? And that took a very long time. The response was never good. Now, okay, I shouldn't say never, but the vast majority of the responses that I got from this content were not good. And let me explain why. The comments that I received on these videos, more than any other type of content, were relentless. They were harsh, they were rude, and they often got personal. Now, I understand, if you put any content online, you're gonna get harassed for it. You're gonna get criticized for it. It's just gonna happen, right? I don't care if you are the most subscribed person on YouTube. You're going to get some praise from people who like your content and people who criticize you. It's just inevitable, right? So I'm not trying to sit here and complain and be like a victim or whatever, but you gotta admit though that when you're making content and all you're getting is just ridicule, it's not a fun time. But these videos in particular, if I missed a minor detail when watching the movie, I was considered ignorant. If I genuinely laughed at a moment in the movie where you're not supposed to, I was considered too immature and too young to understand what true cinema is. And on the flip side, failing to laugh at a certain moment labeled me as a hater. Why do you hate everything, Brandon? Why don't you just sit down and enjoy the movie? And expressing a genuine dislike for a movie. When I see a movie and I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, I don't like this movie. Oh boy, the pitchforks came out. It was just a barrage of insults and name calling. I found that my age was brought up a lot. How dare you not react to this movie the same way that I did back in 1977, back at the theater? Because I just don't have that experience. I can never watch the movie in the same context that you did. Back in this year when I was, this year's old and you weren't even born yet, how dare you ridicule a movie from my childhood, yada, yada, yada. Whatever the case may be, I got it all. And this is where it became clear that most people that watch my reaction videos were just seeking validation for their own opinions. That's it. because it didn't matter what I thought. It had to be the exact same way that they watched the movie. My opinion and my reaction had to be the exact same to theirs. I had to laugh at all the same jokes, be shocked at all the same moments, be scared at all the same moments. Whatever the case may be, I had to have the exact same experience. If I didn't, claws would come out. Like I talked about with the age, if I watched a movie that was older, right? Like this happened with Godzilla, and I compared it to something that I knew, right? I compared Godzilla to Charmander, right? I'm like, oh, it looks like Charmander, because I know what Charmander is. And I hadn't seen the first Godzilla before. You had all these comments. It's like, I'm not an idiot, guys. Oh, I can't believe how stupid this guy is. Doesn't he know that Godzilla came out before Pokemon? Oh, he's way too young. This is why all these young reactors and stuff. Oh, man. I was too young to understand all the nuances and understand that, this came first. Yeah, I know. Like, sakes. Simply put, any sort of criticism came my way because I, quote, didn't watch the movie properly. And another one, I'll just add this on here too. Dude, just shut up and watch the movie. I got that comment so many times. And I'm thinking, if you want to watch some random dude not say anything, watch a movie, then why don't you just watch the f***ing movie yourself? That's one thing I would never understand. So yeah, it was never a fun time, reacting to, the comment section. And again, people can just say, oh, turn the comments off, right? But like the reason why I'm making these videos is because I want to engage with my audience. I enjoy engaging with my audience, and it doesn't even matter if we disagree on something. If we're all on the same page going like, oh, why did you think this? Why did you think that? We can have a discussion about that, no problem. But the criticism here went beyond my reactions. If I voiced an opinion that diverged from the popular consensus, I was being told that, oh, you're just saying that because you want to be different. Oh, you're just trying to be provocative. Oh, you're just being super disrespectful. Oh, you're just so clueless, right? It's a very dismissive attitude. And even positive feedback that I would give a movie going, oh, you know what? I finally got to see this movie from 70 years ago and I understand why I love it. I would give the film a positive review. Oh, of course you'd say that. You just don't want to be, made fun of. You don't actually like it. Even the positive reactions were backhanded. I was only saying it to appease my audience. See, that's the thing. You could never say the right thing, ever. Just never. And I'll also say these two things as well. So when I was watching a lot of these movies, I came to it from a film criticism standpoint. So for example, I reacted to Jaws, and there were many moments in the movie where, like, I would say, oh, shark's gonna come, right? Like, I would be predicting what would happen in the movie, right? And then when it would happen, I'd go, oh, told you, right? I just got lucky. Because I'd seen so many movies before, right? Like, I know what generally happens. I know when a jump scare is going to happen. I know, how plot structure works. So I can kind of predict what's going to happen, right? I'm not saying that I'm like this big, smart film guru. I just have seen enough movies to notice the patterns. I had hundreds of comments on that video. Oh my God, what a liar. He's obviously seen this movie before. I don't care what religion you are. Give me your holy book. I will put my hand on it and just swear I've never reacted to a movie that I'd seen before. Ever. But because I would, say, oh, I see that coming, and it would happen, people would be like, oh, he was just caught red-handed. He's seen this movie before. He's a liar. He's a cheat. Unsubscribe, unlike, boycott, Brando critic. Oh, man. And another one too is, and this happens with every piece of film content nowadays, it just gets overly political. Like, I was reacting to the 10 Commandments, and again, religious movie that's going to bring out the worst in people sometimes, especially online. And I made some comment about how, like, all the women in Egypt, like in like the baths in the beginning, were all white people. And I'm like, oh, it's like the Playboy Mansion. I'm making just some kind of like stupid remark, right? No matter what side of the political spectrum that people would fall under, that comment especially, just as an example, there were so many more comments that would offend everybody, but both sides would call me, oh, you're such a right-wing Trumper, Bible-thumping, gun-toting, conservative asshole. Oh, you're a soy boy libtard. Like, for the same thing. No matter what you say, politics will be brought out. How can you like this? It's obviously so terrible. How do you think this is terrible? It's obviously so good. You could never, ever make the proper type of video. That's it. And number 5, kind of an accumulation of all of these factors, it was a terrible return of investment. So think about it this way. When I'm watching the movie, I would rather be watching it with no cameras on me, not trying to act for the camera, not trying to always say something witty or funny for the content, right? I just want to sit back and enjoy the story. And that happened too. Sometimes when I'm watching a movie, when I was reacting, I was enjoying the movie so much that I forgot that I was even being filmed and I wasn't saying anything, because when I watch movies, like I said, I don't say anything. I don't do these like overly, bombastic reactions. So I would be like, missing a certain thing, and people go like, why didn't you react to this? And I was like, oh yeah, because I was just into the story, right? So again, I'm not going to be showing just me going like this. You know what I mean? So again, I'm watching content, movies, in a way that I don't really like to do. Then I'm editing for hours and hours and hours and hours. A tedious, unfulfilling chore of a process. And I'm editing footage of me not having a good time. Sometimes I'll be watching a good movie, but again, it's not necessarily the best content, right? Then you have to worry about the copyright strikes. And then finally, if you get through all those hoops and you have some kind of final video product that, okay, you know what? I can post this. And a lot of the times I'm like, you know what? Sometimes being done is better than being better, right? If you understand what I mean. So you post it, and then what happens? You get a little bit of praise going, hey, thanks for watching this video. But a lot of it was just, oh, you're such a idiot. You're too young to understand anything. You don't understand real cinema. Why do these so-called critics and da 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 da? And I'm like, see, I just put in all this effort and doing something that I don't want to do, and you guys are not even appreciating it. And I'm not expecting everybody to like all my videos, right? I'm not expecting everybody to be like, wow, he worked so hard. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all. But to go through all this process and then just be ridiculed for it, I'm like, you know what? I have better things to do with my time. I'm going to be able to make videos that I actually want to make and engage with an audience that, yes, might still not like the video or will still probably not like what I say. But at least there's some better discussions to be had there. And on a deeper level, it drained my enthusiasm for movies. When a movie would come along and I'm like, oh, you know what? That's a really famous movie. I'd love to watch it. But I'm like, oh, I'd probably have to watch that for content's sake, because that would make a good video and then that would get a lot of views and like people would be wanting to watch that. But, sometimes I'd want to watch it with a friend. Like for example, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. My father wanted to watch that movie with me, and I'm going like, yeah, you know what? I'll watch that. And people were saying like, oh, well, I'd love to see a reaction video to this. And I said, oh, I just watched it with my father. And one guy was like, how could you be so selfish? Why didn't you film yourself reacting to it? I wanted to watch that. I think that comment just really sums it up. Most people who watched my reaction videos were very ungrateful and selfish. They wanted validation for their own opinions. And when I couldn't give it to them, it was just, yeah, hope you die. And again, I get these comments all the time. But when the majority of those comments come out, and it didn't matter if I hated the movie, loved the movie, like The Birds, for example. I really like The Birds, the Alfred Hitchcock movie. But when all that chaos is going down in the movie, right? Like when the birds start to attack, I'm laughing because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is pretty cheesy from today's standpoint, right? Like that was my genuine reaction. Everybody was like, oh, how dare you? This was so scary back in the day. You're too young to understand. And I'm like, guys, I liked the movie. And that's another thing too, I'll tell you guys. So when I would watch a movie that I'd previously reacted to, I'd have this like sour taste in my mouth. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember, I reacted to this movie and still I loved it. But I remember like just the experience I had with it, making the video and then the response to it, like watching Speed again, watching Labyrinth again, just all these types of movies that I reacted to. And then when I wanted to watch it on my own, it just, reminded me of a bad time. The Godfather movies, you know what I mean? It was just, I don't look back at that time with any kind of nostalgia, to be honest. If a movie comes out and I'm like, I would love to watch it, I'm happy that I get to watch it by myself or with people that I really care about. And I don't feel the need to, heighten my reaction. And then if I want to talk about it, I'll make a video about it. I'll post a YouTube short, I'll review it on Letterboxd, whatever the case may be. And I don't have to make a reaction video. And that is good news to me. So there you have it, guys. And again, I'm sorry if this video, came across as me just complaining and whining. I didn't mean for that to happen. But I just wanted to tell you guys my honest opinion and my honest experience with making these videos. It was not a fun process. And I hope you guys can understand why I don't want to make these videos again. However, having said that, I do watch new movies on camera with Patreon. But with this, I don't feel the need to have to react. We're all talking at the same time. It's kind of like a movie club, kind of like a book club. And we're watching it and we all have a good time together. And it's more of a social event. So it's kind of like a first time reaction because all these movies I've never seen before. You all get to hang out, have a great time. Patreon is a great way to support the channel, and it's a great way to, meet new people, right? Link is down below, and there's contests where I give you guys movies, so that's always a plus. So if you want some kind of form of that content, that's the place to get it. But in terms of my own YouTube channel, no more first time reaction videos. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.